also very bird. And when you called me, I was like, well, everybody should have in their life walked past US Navy SEALs in the Moroccan mountain in the morning, right? Yeah, I'm here to talk to you about the autonomous engineer, not very military at all. We have, I'll do it in English if it's okay with you, from Norway, I know in Sweden, live in London at the moment. So the presentation will be in Norwegian with some slight Swedish words, and I'll do it in English, so hopefully you'll understand what I'm talking about. So total chaos from the very beginning. We've made an autonomous engineer, den selvprosjekterende ingeniøren. It's AI that does the engineering. She's an AI agent, and as I think most people know at the moment, AI agents, they can do the work of humans or machines, but they also are the software. So like the CEO of Microsoft said over the holidays, he said, well, AI agents will eat software as a service as we know it. We'll eat Autodesk Revit. And we also eat a lot of the work done by engineers. So to set the stage, yeah, and here she is. I've got feedback, some are tired of me showing this picture, but I haven't found a better way to communicate the difference when humans do engineering and machines do engineering. This is from the automotive industry, so it's far from our industry, but it just shows the difference. We are an industry using 40% of all the material in the world. So when people think AI is scary and dangerous, we can here see that human engineers are scary and dangerous because our planet is burning. We use 40% of the material in the world, and we can do engineering this way now. We started out about 4.5 years ago to build this AI, and started with the technical systems. So it's really important. The autonomous engineer, she's not an architect. Architect is a different education, different industry, but she is more or less all the engineers for that early phase at the moment. And what we started to tackle was all these different disciplines within the technical systems. Because AI is really, really good at using statistical methods to solve high complexity. Large group of humans, each with their own software, is not particularly good at finding an optimal solution to highly complex problems. So here we have a situation where AI is just perfect for us. Because if you go into the interdisciplinary design, I take it most of you are from the industry, so you know how complicated this is. But we do know the laws of physics. We know the capabilities for the vendors. We know the specifications. We know the code. And we also know how we normally solve stuff. So everything is known when you go in and do interdisciplinary technical design. It's just that it's extremely, extremely complex. So instead of using deterministic methods, so if then else, building an algorithm and then coding it, and then have traditional software helping people solve this, we lean on the stochastic models, so statistics. We also lean on the large language models, of course, great AI in that, but we also, when doing engineering, it's deep tech AI, all that physical AI, mathematical AI as well. So for me, the big difference between traditional software and AI is that we go stochastic instead of deterministic. You might want to look up that later. When I discovered this about 6-7 years ago, I was really thrilled, and I thought, well, this can help our industry, because I've been in this industry working with Ole Christian for, I don't know, more than 20 years, not to reveal our age. So we've been struggling. I've been building, someone you might know Nairis. It's the third largest Danish consultancy engineering company. I built the Norwegian arm of that and was at the global C-level. So we come from the industry, we know the struggles, discovered AI, what it was doing in media and medicine, and thought, well, this is powerful. This we can use to solve the real struggles in what we're doing. And we have targeted early phase engineering. But it is I don't know, back to my age again. I was around for pen and paper. Some of you were probably around for that as well. We're part of that digitalization of the industry. What we've done becoming digital in this industry is primarily getting more and more consultants, and each consultant with a digital tool. And then we wonder why haven't we gained any efficiency by digitizing this industry? Because we haven't, to be honest. You look at the business model for the consultants. Sorry for the consultants who are in the room. The business model is to spend as many hours as possible because you either charge by the hour or by the scope. So why would you spend less money, hours? Why would you take down the scope? And looking at Autodesk and the likes, their licensing model is to sell to each one of the consultants or each one of the engineer. So why would they make tools that brought efficiency into this? You needed more, the less users when they charge you per user. And then I think everybody can do the math and see why we haven't gained any efficiency in digitizing. Sorry, it is about the money. That's why we don't sell our licenses to engineers, to the consultants. We sell directly to you, developers and general contractors. And here she is. She's been trained by the best people in the world. We started out and sourced people from absolutely all over the world, people with PhDs in all those narrow fields of AI, because we needed that to be able to build these capabilities. We also have trained her on all information that is needed to become a good engineer, or needed to become all the engineers working globally. But machines can train on that massive data. She also has way more experience than any human engineer can have by now. We started in Norway, we built it there, scaled to UK, tried to get into Sweden, but it was really, really hard to get a C-level group in Sweden to all agree on going full AI about a year or two ago. Might have changed now. Hopefully it will be changing. We're into US, into Asia. We have some clients together with Rendra in Asia as well, and work closely with the Sweden people. And I want to show you a little bit how you now can have AI together with your StreamBIM solution. Because we don't hold the data, we don't sort the data, we don't keep control of the data like StreamBIM do. But the engineers, our autonomous engineer, love to work together on the StreamBIM platform. As we've seen today, so you do as well. So I'll try to explain what the autonomous engineer is capable of doing already. If you have the architectural model, like we saw earlier on stage as well, now you store it on the StreamBIM platform, our autonomous engineer can go in, fetch the model and understand it, and then see all the specifications that are being brought to, or been written earlier on in the project, and she takes that into her brain, and she sees. First, she checks whether the model is the same as in area schedules, the Rommelfunksjonsprogram. We do see in most projects the documentation and the Excel sheets and the tables does match the model. And of course, that is, if you're a developer and you're sending out that to tender for Fognes and Allard, you do have a problem because there's going to be change orders, right? So just for risk assessment, take the architecture model, see if there is discrepancies towards what sits in the written documentation. And she will just simply show where the discrepancies are. She won't solve them because you want the architect and the team to do that, but she shows you where it is. So she reduces the risk. Then she can go in, if it's a hotel, she can shuffle around so you get as many keys, as much revenue as possible per night for that hotel, and shuffle around and just find. We always find a lot more rooms than when humans are. When we try to figure out all the rooms in a hotel as a human, it is just too complicated to find the optimal. So we've done quite a few projects now where we have delivered a lot more value to the real estate developer just by finding more rooms and shuffling around. We also do that on parking. So if you have a parking in the basement, we find more parking lots. Or if you just want to meet the requirement on a number of parking lots, we can take down the size of the building, or we can give you more lettable space. So she will shuffle around, and then she will put back an updated IFC model on the StreamLin platform. And when the geometry then is set, she'll go and pick the strategies that has been discussed earlier on in the project, and then she will simply just do all the interdisciplinary design or the full technical systems. So in 2 days, from figuring out the geometry of the building together with the architect, you can have a full model ready for tender. Model Maturity Index 300, full BIM, IFC. We also can produce a Revit. We are careful using Autodesk format in the way we work, but we do want to lean on the open IFC standard everywhere we can, and we communicate really well with the StreamLin platform on the open standards as well. So, any developers here who wants to have their tenants in about a year earlier, starting to charge them for the stasis, here you have a solution. So instead of having that large team of engineers doing that tender ready model, the autonomous engineer can do that in 2 days. She also goes in and have a look at the sizes for the plant rooms, because we do see there's a lot of plant rooms out there that are way too big. It's a waste of material, it's a waste of space, and it's a waste of money to do that. So she's really good at going in and just optimizing how big does it need to be, so you can get more lettable space, or you can build less. She also goes in and avoids in the ceiling for residential developments, and cramp them, so you can get a higher ceiling height, or you can get more floors with the same ceiling height. So pure value for the developers. And of course, she produces all these reports, so bill quantities, sustainability reports, fire risk report, acoustic reports, all that she just generates. So you don't have to have an engineer sitting writing those documents. I do know, who of you are engineers in the room? That's quite a few engineers, yeah. How many are in finance and economics, business? No one. I can't believe that, because if we had any of those, they would be sitting there thinking, oh, wow, I can save all this money on the material. We normally produce something with 20% less material than when humans does it. That is a 20% at least cut in cost because of the material and also the installation. It's a 20% cut in the carbon footprint because we use less. It's a very boring way to become sustainable, but it is the real way of becoming sustainable. And getting tenants in a year earlier in a large office building, or in a large hospital where you don't have tenants, you have guests, but at least you can start the operation and start to produce value. Or you can sell apartments a year earlier. That is huge money. And everybody who should have been here and they work in business would be very, very happy, because I know all you engineers are just sitting here thinking, what can she not do? What can go wrong here? And sorry, I'm an engineer, so I have that feeling, but there is a lot human engineers cannot do, and we've seen the result of what human engineers do, because we were checking tender documentation, förfrågningsunderlag, konkurrensegrundlag, anbudsunderlag for years with our AI, and we see there's a lot of rubbish being sent out for tendering when humans do it. She is better already, way better already, I'm sorry to say. But happy to show you. Like I said, she would take the model, she would take the specific written specification and documentation, and just simply show you where the discrepancies are. We have schools in Norway where we see that the library has been modeled twice as big as it says in the area schedules. And that is a problem, because you need to go back and either update the area schedules or the model, and everybody needs to have a feeling of what can we afford, and what that kind of discrepancy costs when you go for tender, you get a contractor in, and there's deviation between these sources of information. You all who've been in real projects know how that ends. Shuffling around hotels. This is a small building in Oslo. It's going to be torn down and be the first Hoxton Hotel in Oslo. We did find 24 more rooms for the developer here, the equivalent of 70 million Norwegian kroners extra value for the building. Have to say that developer is now the largest external investor in our company. And like I said, if we get the architect model in, it takes us about 2 days. Most of that time is parsing the architectural model where they've used, I don't know, floors to make ceilings and walls, and yeah, it's not modeled correctly, but we can handle that because we come from the industry, so we don't expect something perfect as input. We handle imperfect input. We also now, for the first projects, taking in 2D drawings, and we just generate the full BIM so that we can, in 2 days, give you the full technical systems ready modeled, all disciplines, shortest route with ducts and pipes and cable trays, all the components in the ceiling optimized, placed. So you have the sprinkler covering what you need. You have the lux level on all the desk that is required. We also do the load calculation, so you can go in and see what kind of loads is she using as her basis for all the spaces in the building. And like I said, those voids in the ceiling, we have tall residential towers where we take all the ceilings up. In this project, we took it up 15 centimeters, but we've also gone higher. That is a lot of value for the developer to be able to sell apartments that have 15 centimeters higher ceilings. That is real money. I should have had some business people here. And then for the documentation that you need in for Fognesunderlag or Konkurranseunderlag tender documentation, we just generate it. And we don't go into detailed design. We do optimize plant rooms at later stages, but we don't go in detailed design yet because we can't get insurance, liability insurance for when AI is doing the engineering, because insurance industry needs to develop a little bit further when it comes to AI as well. So that is why we stay out of detailed design. There's still some food out there for you consultants. But we do give you a better foundation to start on. So interdisciplinary coordinated, no clashes, shortest route with all the pipes and ducts and the cable trays, optimized placement of all the components, optimized shaft sizing, optimized plant room sizing. So we're just picking all these values while using what AI is really, really good at and fits our industry perfectly. And for all of you who are already working on the StreamBIM platform from Renda, you can get it as an addition to your license. Yeah, it's really easy. It's not scary AI. When she finds something, when she checks the tender documentation for risk, for example, she will simply just say, well, here you've written something in one document, and in another document it states not necessarily exactly the same. You might want to have a look at it, and she shows you the documents, highlights where the problem is and what is the problem. So not scary AI for this part. And she checks a lot of documentation packages. Here she scores leaning on the large language models, generative AI packages. We have a really good collaboration with NVIDIA and OpenAI and these fancy American companies. And what we do, we put the domain knowledge on top of that capabilities from the large language models. So you don't need to know what to prompt for. She makes sure that you prompt for absolutely everything you should do to have a quality assessment of your document package. I normally say, well, ChatGPT, running short, sorry for the reference, Rupert. It's like a running short, right? You get really fast, it's really nice to use on your spare time. But you don't go on site in running shorts. You have security close. I think that is also where you should, what you should think about when using ChatGPT at work. It is running short. It's not really safe to use at work. You should use industrialized AI tools when you're at work, because then we make sure there's data security, we make sure there is support, and your data doesn't leak out there where you probably is not allowed for it to leak either. So we have like the crowd state, we have governments using our platform. So this is a secure way of getting the capabilities that you use in ChatGPT and other products. Our business model is that you just hire half. So you can have this fantastic co-worker now that you hire, pay her a monthly salary, and she works on all your projects together with your team. because we believe in the mix of technology and humans. So this is a fantastic coworker. She can do a lot of things. She has a pretty large skill set at the moment, but like all other AI, she can only do what she's trained to do. There's still stuff that needs to be done she's not trained to do. So she can come into a team and be part of your development team or your pre-construction team or your tender team if you're a general contractor. And you pay her a monthly salary. We, internally, Gosiggli, we have hired a lot of AI agents made by other tech companies. So I usually say we have Valerie. She's a stalker, because the blue eyes there. She stalks everybody in the industry globally, finds people who has projects in the right phase, has money, and is going into development for real estate, or is a contractor that is doing well these days. She finds them, and then she gives it all the input. So we know if they just got married, got a new dog, we know everything about that person. And then Elsie targets them to book a meeting. It looks like it's a person, but then Elsie is the goal-oriented AI agent, and she's going after booking that meeting. When we get that meeting, we have humans in the meeting because we think that is really, really important to keep that connection between humans. But when I hold meetings, I also have Fred in the meeting with me. He's a note taker. He makes sure everything is recorded. He gives me a summary, he gives me action points. And now we also in Gosiggli are making the secretary. So you can have the Gosiggli meeting secretary together with you. She's trying to do real estate development meeting, a follow-up a construction meeting. Fred is a business meeting assistant. So he's always with me in the meetings. But no, of course, all the developers, they use all these AI agents in the coding. To write code, to check code, to challenge code, and to just be a lot more productive and efficient. So we hire a lot of AI agents in our organization. I usually say if I started this company, I don't know, 5 years earlier, I think we would have been at least 4 times as many people by now to do what we are able to do, what we have now. And that is the start of the change with AI agents. And we have made an AI agent that is really, really looking forward to go into your development team and perform. So I'll be around the whole day. Easy to find. You can find me on LinkedIn there. Very happy to talk to you. And thank you so much, Ole Christian and Rupert and the team of Rembra. We have we're collaborating for more than 20 years, and we kind of follow the whole way through, and it's just wonderful. So if you want to have AI on top of your streaming platform, talk to us.